Robot1 here, coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video, and in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, we are going to be having a discussion about what the top 5 best control decks are in the current Yu-Gi-Oh format. Now, obviously, we're currently still in the online Yu-Gi-Oh! Some locals are reopening here and there, but even still, I want to talk about what are the potential best control decks in the game, seeing as myself, I'm personally a control player. I do play combo from time to time, such as Emancipators, which are really just all over the place. Settlement Great, which is like a mixture between combo and control. Pendulums, which is a full-on control combo deck. I play combo from time to time, but what really is the deck that I choose to play are control decks, because I personally do really like the control formula in Yu-Gi-Oh, which is basically you control the game in the way you want it. You play specific cards in the game that say, oh, you have that many monsters, well, I'm going to get rid of some of those monsters. Oh, you have you want to use that effect? Well, no, I'm going to stop that effect. Oh, you have that on the board and you're going to try and attack me? Well, I'm going to stop your attack. That's like what I really like in the game. I like control. I like how to control the game in my favor. So today's video is we're going to be talking about the top 5 control decks in the game right now, in my personal opinion. So without further ado, let's get into this by talking about the first one, which I personally believe is Ritual Beasts. Now, Ritual Beast is a very, very good combo deck. It's a deck that basically revolves around turn 1, getting to Ritual Beast Elder Conahawk, Ritual Beast Elder and Ritual Beast Conahawk to be able to go into a full combo sort of spam thing where you can end up with 2 extra traps on the board. Now, obviously, you're going to need to open Elder and Conahawk, but the deck also has other means to get to this, such as using Foolish Burial and opening a Lara or a Zephyr Pilica. You also have Wen and Goldsock. You also have opening a Tamer with Emergency Teleport. You have multiple actual ways to get to these little areas in the game where you can actually achieve your turn 1 combo. But what else this deck uses as well is a lot of cards that allow you to control the game. Now, the 2 cards in this deck that allow you to control the game the most, which not a lot of other decks can use, is Macrocosmos and Dimensional Fissure. 2 cards that basically say, if this would go to grave, banish. Now, D-Fissure only does that to monsters, but Macrocosmos does that to spells and traps as well. So what this deck essentially tries to do is it tries to get you in a position where you can stop your opponent from playing the game through a lot of back row, such as having Ritual Beast Steeds and Ritual Beast Ambush, so you can have multiple Ritual Beasts on your turn, while also having it being very consistent in the fact that if you do get to your your Ulti Conahawk, then you're able to essentially go into a combo where you can play the game and stop your opponent. Now, obviously, the deck also does play other cards such as Solemn Strike, Solemn Warnings, Solemn Judgments, just so your opponent can stop it, but it also can play other cards as well, such as there can only be one. It can play certain floodgates. It can play like Gozen Match as well, because it is basically an all-wind deck. It's a very good deck that really does revolve around controlling the game state, which you don't normally see. So that's kind of the reason why I personally like it, and I feel like it is one of the better controlled decks, because if it goes first, and you open a Tamer and a way to get to a Ritual Beast, a Spiritual Beast, then you pretty much have you pretty much have full combo to go ahead and add 2 traps from your deck to your hand, along with the other 3 cards in your hand, which could be potential trap cards, could be more combo potential to be able to like end on an Ulti Gaia Pelio, because that's another thing. In this deck, you have Omni Negate within Ulti Gaia Pelio that essentially says I get to just negate any of your things as long as I discard a card in my hand that is the same type. So it is a really good deck. I really feel like it is a great control deck in general. Its one downside is, of course, that if it doesn't open the 2 Tamers, then it doesn't really do much. But outside of that, the deck is a really strong deck. It's a really fun deck, and I feel like it is one of the very good control decks of the format. But yeah, Ritual Beast to number 5. Let's go on to number 4, though, which is actually Unchained. Now, Unchained is a very strange control-based deck. It's really good in its own rights for the fact that all the cards in the deck basically revolve around you destroying your stuff to basically get more advantage. But the thing is, this deck is a very different kind of control deck to what we normally see. The deck normally revolves around killing your own things to summon like your Unchained Abomination from your hand to then destroy something else, while also playing cards like the Unchained Soul of Rage to essentially be able to steal your opponent's special summon monsters during their turn. This deck also revolves around stuff like Samsara, Unchained Twin Samsara, Unchained Twins Riku, and Wrecker, which essentially say when they're destroyed, they special summon another copy from the deck, but they can also destroy other cards to enable you to go even further. And the deck has a lot of other cards in it as well that allow you to control the game, such as the Unchained Twins, I believe it is called, with the Unchained Twins Trap, which basically says you can destroy an Unchained card you control and a card your opponent controls, and then you basically gain advantage because you killed your Unchained card. Now, obviously, this deck does have its downfalls as well, in the fact that it does kind of need to go first as well. If it goes second, it needs to play various hand traps to kind of get around it. But let's be honest, if you're playing a deck, you should already be playing at least minimum 6 hand traps right now to be able to play around combo decks. But literally, looking at the Unchained deck, it's actually really strong, and it actually plays very similar to the old Yang Zing deck as well, where it played cards like Triple Dark Hole, Triple Torrential Tribute, just cards that say, I'm going to nuke your board and control the game my way, so you can't essentially play the game as well. So basically, Unchained is just a really, really good control deck that focuses a lot around trap cards, focuses a lot around destroying its own stuff to get more advantage, summoning the Unchained Souls, so you can literally just be like, oh, I'm going to now steal your cards and turn them into my things, and honestly just being very good all around, being able to play cards such as Dark Hole and Torrential Tribute that aren't really that good nowadays, but in a deck like this that gains more advantage from when your own stuff is destroyed, it is a very good card. It's a very good deck in general. So Unchained is the 4th best control deck in the format in my current opinion. It is very good. It really does rely on the opponent a bit though, but even though it relies on the opponent, being able to just snatch up a special summon monster and turn it into something you want, and then maybe flip like a Torrential Tribute or use a Dark Hole to kind of clear their board is really, really strong, and I feel like this is just a really nice deck in general. But yeah, Unchained, number 4. Let's go on to number 3. So number 3 is another one that did kind of fall off the map for a bit, but has kind of been resurfacing here and there, and that is Sky Striker. Sky Striker is an amazing control deck in the game. Even without triple engage, the deck is still finding ways to play in the current format, being it can play through play the graveyard control game using stuff like Shark Cannon, literally looking at decks that revolve around the grave. You just literally keep recycling your Shark Cannons with Kagari, keep banishing their stuff, stopping them from playing the game. It can play, there can only be one to be able to stop any of those max different monster, same attribute type, same type decks out there that literally just revolve around one type of card in general. It can play stuff like Widow Anchor and keep recycling those as well if you want to stop monster effects constantly. The deck still has a lot, and it can even still play with Mystic Mine as well, which is just a very, very strong control card in the game. Being able to just stop your opponent from being able to do anything on it when it's on the board, seeing as you can just keep drawing cards until you get to the point where, oh, I can play the game now, so I guess I'm just going to try and win. And the deck also revolves around a lot of other link monsters, and it can even utilize stuff like Access Code Talker to a very huge degree, because all the extra deck monsters that it plays are different types, with Kagari being fire, Hayate being wind, Shizuku being water, and Kaina being earth. That's literally 4 different attributes to have 4 unchainable pops on the opponent, so you have just so many different ways to kind of play around the opponent that it's actually really, really strong to have that sort of thing in your deck. So Sky Striker, really strong, really just recurable control deck that just keeps coming back constantly. Playing stuff like, it can play stuff like Pot of Avarice to gain even more advantage. It can play Pot of Desires because it plays a load of 3-ofs anyway. It can play Upstart to get more cards in the graveyard. It can steal your opponent's monsters with stuff like Widow Anchor and Shark Cannon to be able to do more damage. It can do a lot in the game, and it has a lot of places where it can actually control the game. So Sky Striker definitely is one of the best control decks in the game right now, even without Sky Striker engage. Like, no engage, hey, the deck's still fine. It's absolutely fine. But going on to the second best control deck in the format, that is obviously Otto Geist. Otto Geist getting free multi-faker back really just boosted this deck to such a huge degree. Having the ability to have more consistent ways to get to multi-faker outside of literally just Mela Seek and literally being able to just draw one, literally just makes it so much more consistent and makes the deck so much better. One of the things that really did bring this deck down at one point, but still kept it being a really strong control deck, was that multi-faker went to 1. And now that multi-faker is back to 3, it basically does everything that it did before, but even better, seeing as now we're not restricted by a lot of things, and seeing as the game is really combo heavy. So Combat Control is just a really strong, Otto Geist is just a really strong deck this format for multiple reasons. One, it can play every Solemn in the game. Two, it has a lot of recursion within Otto Geist Manifestation, being able to revive your Otto Geist monsters and then just go from there. Literally being able to revive a Silkatus from the grave and then compulse an opponent's card is absolutely amazing. Oh, Multi-Faker, well, I'm going to summon something from the deck to gain more advantage. Hexia, I'm going to be able to negate your spells and traps. And the deck's getting even more support soon as well to make making Hexia even better with the new Otto Geist that lets you link from hand. So that's another thing there as well. And the deck just has so much control variables. Like it can play Paleozoic Dynamiscus to be able to discard and banish face-up cards. It can play Infinite Impermanence. Even Infinite Impermanence is literally the best deck to play this in, because if you open Imperm along with Multi-Faker now, which is a lot easier, well, that's just a turn one. I get to stop my opponent without them doing anything. Oh, it went from literally 1 disruption to 2 in the span of no time, and it literally says I can disrupt even on my turn as well by returning something on my board to the hand. So the deck just has so much resource within Hexia, within all the traps it can play. Literally, it can play literally any trap in the game. You want to play a trap variant of the deck? Well, you can play literally Trap Trick and a load of other trap cards, normal trap cards. Oh, you want to play the Mystic Mine build? Well, Spoofing plus Mystic Mine plus Meliseek is literally you can't touch me. The deck has so much resources in the game, and it has so many different ways to play the control deck game. That is really one of the best control decks in the game at the current moment. But what is number one? Let's get into that now, and number one is Elder Lich. I cannot deny Elder Lich is possibly one of the best control decks in the game. It is literally one of the better decks in the game for just so many different reasons. One, it has a searchable Solemn Judgment that can be used very easily without any issue, meaning literally, oh, I just Solemn Judgment you. Like, literally, it has a Solemn Judgment in the deck that literally just says, I can tribute the Golden Lord, and then I negate anything you do, except for a summon, of course. It can play every Solemn in the game very easily. It can recycle all the traps and spells that it uses. Literally, you want to get an Elder Elixir? Well, I'm going to banish a Golden Land card. You want to get a Golden Land card? I'm going to banish an Elder Elixir. Like, the deck has so many ways to go around and play that, and also, the deck has so much different ways to control the game as well. It has Conquistador. If you control the Golden Lord, well, you special summon this, and then you destroy a face-up card on the board. Oh, you have a Hukirio, I think that's how you pronounce its name. You literally summon this while you control the Golden Lord and banish a card from the graveyard. This deck literally has those two cards, which is really nice, and it has a lot of searchability as well with the Cursed Elderland, which literally says I pay 800 and search either a Golden Lord or a Golden Land card. And if it's sent to the graveyard, well, you can send one of those to the graveyard, which is just the same. And it's even more consistent thanks to the cards like all the Elder Elixirs that literally say summon Golden Lord from hand, summon Golden Lord from grave, summon Golden Lord from deck. They like two of them say summon from deck, two of them say summon from hand, and two of them summon from graveyard. So you just have so many ways to actually get to the Golden Lord that it doesn't really matter. And the deck also has multiple different versions. It has the Inspector Border build that literally just summons Inspector Border, plays on like floodgates, and looks at your opponent unable to play the game. It has the Despot 003 build, which literally just goes through a whole Despot 003 combo to end on a Herald, multiple back row, and a Borreload Savage Dragon, and with the Golden Lord, of course, as well. It's just got so many different ways to play the game that Golden Lord really is, the Elder Lich deck is really the best control deck in the game right now, just in terms of power alone. But, guys, that is just my personal opinions. This is my personal opinions on what I think are the current best control decks in the game. Like, control is very subjective to multiple people. Like, I've obviously got a bit outside the boundary here as well, looking at like stuff like the Unchained deck, for instance. A lot of people might not consider that control because it does have a kind of a combo aspect to it at times, but I could fully consider that control because it kind of controls the game on your opponent's board by stopping them from playing the game. And also, Elder Lich does have a combo version, but it would also be considered control because of where it ends on how it is played style. But what do you guys personally think? Do you think these are the best control decks in the game? Do you think these are the worst control decks in the game? Do you think some of these might go up or down, depending on your own personal opinions? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below, and if there's a combo control deck that you personally play that you think would be better than these. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below and hear your opinions on this. But guys, these are the control decks. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you try some of these, except for Elder Lich. That's just an annoying control deck. I would rather you not play it, but hell, try the others, except for Skytracker as well. That's also annoying. Just try these out your own. Try these out at your own pace. See if you like them. See if you enjoy them. See if you enjoy control yourself, just like me, because control is honestly my favorite way to play the game of Yu-Gi-Oh. But that's gonna be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Robot1 signing out. I'm a control player, and I'm proud.